car market has been a little bit of a shit show for a while now, and it is about time that it is ultimately on the verge of correcting, I think. And the question of returning back to normal, I don't even think that's such a thing anymore. I think there's just getting to some form of new normal where perhaps maybe we're not overpaying for vehicles, unbelievable amounts of additional dealer markups over MSRP, and also having the ability to possibly buy new vehicles off the lot without having to order them. But if so, not paying ridiculous fees just to have the ability for an allocation, nor waiting 2 to 3 years to receive the built vehicle. Now, dealerships, car salespersons, people, car salesmen, car saleswomen, they're about to be in for a little bit of a rude awakening. I hate to say it, but also I'm not really too upset about it. Fortunately, I don't feel as though we were victim of any of the price gouging, as we didn't necessarily need any vehicles during this time of inflated car prices. And the few that we did buy, we got pretty good deals on. And also in comparison to the vehicles that we sold and traded to make these deals happen. But we are seeing a rapid increase of inventory at new car dealerships and used car dealerships. And the used car dealerships inventory is really just kind of piling up for the fact that these dealers have all this inventory that they've overpaid for. And now the average buyer and average consumer is no longer interested in these overpriced vehicles. The economy, inflation, interest rates have all turned buyers off. And at the same time, why would you want to pay more for a used car, get a higher interest rate for it, instead of just waiting and buying a new car and getting a lower interest rate for it, probably at a better price, and it's brand new with a brand new car warranty and new car smell, sort of. That's kind of gone away. But we're seeing dealerships getting their inventories doubled, with new cars showing up and not already being sold, therefore filling up the lots. Now, this is a good thing. Going to a car dealership lot and seeing empty spaces is not good. And we're talking about lots that may have used to have hundreds of new vehicles, now only had 5 or 6, doubling that to 10 or 12. So when we say doubling, it's relative, but if that number doubles, then we could be looking at 20 to 24. And then we could be looking at 40 to 48. And it continuously exponentially increases as time goes on, as buyers pull back, as consumer confidence is continuously weakened, and interest rates prevent people from being able to afford to pay the high prices per month to buy these cars, therefore limiting car purchases to the desperate or the able who have cash. Now, the average American literally can't afford to pay cash for a car. Why? Because average car prices for new cars is over $50,000. That's a 25% increase for just like over 2 years' time. 50 grand for a new car. Most Americans don't even have enough money for 1 month of expenses. They don't have enough in savings to cover a $500 emergency, let alone pay 50 grand cash for a new car. Used cars are just as expensive because the dealers were paying too much money to get the used cars to have the inventory to then try to flip and sell for more. And that ship has sailed. Now, granted, the dealerships made a lot of money in this time frame. They made a lot of profit. And there's going to take some time for the dealerships to sit on this old inventory on their floor plans, now paying higher interest on these vehicles that they're holding in their inventory. They're not moving regularly, to then decide that they want to ultimately take a loss, so to speak, on these. For instance, I visited an Acura dealership near me down here in Florida, and I approached them about a 2020 or 2021 GR Supra that I was slightly interested in. And I walk in the dealership. I was greeted eventually Doesn't seem like a really well-run dealership. However, I was patient. I understand what the employment and labor situation is like today. And as I'm speaking to the salesperson, I said, hey, I'm interested in this Supra. He goes, oh, great. Let me get the keys. And I said, no need. I just have a question for you. Your price is relatively high on this vehicle in comparison to what it's really worth and your competition locally. He seemed a little confused, but we pulled up Auto Trader and I showed him another dealership that was probably about 3 or 4 miles away with a similar spec with lower miles for less money that had already previously checked out the day before. And he goes and proceeds to tell me, do you know how the car market works? I said, you know what? I said, humor me, explain. And he goes, well, cars are just hard to come by. And, in this area, this is one of the only GR Supras around. I said, well, sort of, but I can literally go around the corner and get another one for less money. He says, yeah, but a lot of people don't want to travel to pick up their vehicle. So it kind of is what it is. I said, well, that's fine. I don't mind traveling. I actually enjoy traveling. So if I had to take a road trip or jump on a plane and drive back home with the vehicle that I wanted at the price I wanted to pay, it would actually make it more worth it to me. And he says, okay. And we literally just parted ways at that. Didn't ask for my name, didn't ask for my number. It was just, this is the price. It is what it is. Fast forward 2 months later, the vehicle is still on the lot and they lowered their price by $6,000. Now, as a car salesperson at the time when you had a potential buyer interested in the vehicle and you could have even offered some form of negotiation, the likelihood of me engaging in this negotiation and possibly purchasing it was higher than me walking away and you not even having a way of contacting me to even let me know you dropped your price. Now you're still sitting on it. Now I've lost interest. Now interest rates are higher. Now there are so many more obstacles working against you, preventing you from selling this car. Now, granted, this is only one experience, but I suspect that this is going to happen a whole lot more and a whole lot more often across a lot of different dealerships all across the country as these used car inventories that they've overpaid for and or trying to squeeze every last little drop out of are becoming less desirable. As Americans are getting a little bit tighter with their money, a little bit less confident in their spending, a little bit less confident in their ability to earn their income consistently, and frivolous purchases like a 2-seater GR Supra, probably not high on anyone's priority list. It just isn't. Now, the interest rates are going to continue to increase. The Federal Reserve is going to ultimately tank the car market along with the jobs market, along with the housing market, along with the stock market, along with the cryptocurrency market. It is what it is. Unless you have cash, unless you have alternative means of financing that don't involve the basic buy rate from the Fed, which is going to be astronomical for new cars and even more astronomical for used cars, assuming you have perfect credit. God forbid you don't. Couple that with higher manufacturer MSRPs and higher invoices, making it just more difficult to make the sales happen. But with that being said, some new cars are less than used cars because the dealerships overpaid for the used cars. So in hindsight, that was not a very good idea, not a great business model, or at least a sustainable business model. And they probably should have cut this off sooner. Meanwhile, income and wages that people earn have not even come close to increasing at the same rate of which the vehicles price increases have gone up. Like I said, 25% increase on new cars. Used cars don't even count. Used cars, for the most part today, for a used car that's probably even 10 years old, depending on what model it is and what spec, is more than likely being listed for what it was brand new. And it's 10 years old. It has miles. Obviously, there's some variances and there differences in between, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Some of these higher desirable vehicles, like a basic F-150 pickup truck or a Ram 1500, Ford Expedition. They're not crazy vehicles, but they are highly desirable, and they are just being listed for more than what they should be. It's unbelievable. This is a gross this is a gross abuse of inflation. This isn't even really inflation. This is price gouging. But at the end of the day, the cars are just not affordable. And at new car prices hitting 50 grand for new cars, that's literally 50 grand for a base model. This is not anything extravagant or anything crazy. This is 50 grand for a base model. I can remember back, I want to say it was 2015, bought a 2015 F-150 Lariat, two-wheel drive, and I think brand new, and I think it was $45,000. I think it was $45,000. A new Ford F-150 Lariat two-wheel drive today, I would bet is probably closer to $65,000, which is unbelievable because I bought a brand new F-250 6.7 turbo diesel Power Stroke Super Duty in 2017 for less than that. And I mean, it was an FX4. It had all the bells and whistles. And now you couldn't even get a two-wheel drive EcoBoost F-150 for the same price. It's unbelievable. So 50 grand for the new car is literally just a base model price that people still can't afford. Lots of layoffs are happening, and purchasing a new car after losing your job just isn't going to happen. And for those who still have jobs, they're probably not super comfortable and confident in those jobs and the future of those jobs, as anything could disrupt their income, whether it be interest rates, whether it be another business going under, whether it be supply chain issues, whether it be global conflicts and war. Anything is possible. Anything. Not to mention this new sanction on semiconductor chips with China. This is going to be devastating to the economy. But at the same time, dealerships will be more willing to negotiate on some of their vehicles, which is a plus. But again, if you're financing, I'm not super excited about it. Not for the interest rates. I'm not super excited about it. But the beauty of it is you no longer really have to walk into a dealership and just kind of pull your pants down and let them bend you over and pay whatever price they're asking for. There will be the ability for some negotiation. And dealers are now actually doing inbound marketing and calling customers and trying to gain their business instead of kind of like brushing them off and kind of laughing at the fact that they weren't going to be paying over list and over MSRP for these vehicles because they could sell it to someone else. That's someone else willing to pay a ridiculous amount of money for crazy add-ons and accessories, additional dealer markup ADM for Escalades, Cadillac Escalades, the new Nissan Z, some egregious overpricing on the new C8 Z06. You guys know it all. You've seen it all. That shit's coming to an end, and I'm glad it is. If they've almost ruined the whole car buying experience, and I love buying cars. I've actually mentioned to you guys before that I'm super interested in picking up another Porsche, more than likely a 911, possibly a Cayman, maybe even a GTS 4.0, maybe a GT4, but I am super interested in picking up something again soon. And I want to enjoy the process. I want to enjoy the experience. I don't want to pay ridiculous prices for cars that aren't worth it. And I damn sure don't want to pay these high interest rates. So I may have to pay cash. But at the end of the day, the dealerships, their profits are going to be declining. And the dealerships are going to have to make a decision quickly because the loans that they take out to have this inventory cost money. And now it's going to cost more because interest rates are going up. And the used car lots are potentially at risk, especially for the fact that some of these smaller independent used car lots don't have much more to lean on besides their inventory that they've probably paid too much for. And the banks that they use are typically not prime lenders. So those used car lot dealerships, those independents, without like a full service department or any other real money maker for these used cars to be their loss leaders, they could potentially just go out of business. And even for the new car dealerships, they have staffing issues and they have a hard time having the mechanics on hand to service the vehicles that come through. Therefore, they're not able to push through the service and repair and maintenance volume and revenue and sales and profits like they should for some of these dealerships that have spent tons of money on expanding their service department to have dozens of bays, and now having also been through a supply chain issue of being able to get parts, Now, having the issue of not having the labor and staffing available to service the vehicles on top of a decline in people servicing their vehicles because money is tight and they just don't have what they used to have and or the confidence and ability to service and maintain and modify and repair these vehicles like they used to, especially now that most folks are putting them on credit cards and other dealership financing, and the interest rates are going up, making it more expensive to repay. We're in a little bit of a shitstorm here with what's going on. But I will say that for those folks out there who've been sitting on the sidelines, patiently waiting for a great opportunity to jump back into this car game and pick up a great vehicle for yourself, for your family, for your wife, your kids, or whatever it may be, an additional vehicle for you, a weekend car, a toy car, a new project, I think we're about to see some good things happening. We're going to see some prices coming down. We're going to see some great opportunities. And, it's going to be a time to make sure your credit is in order and or your cash is straight so that you can maximize on these deals and take advantage of them. I'm going to bring you guys some more updates on the car market, the car industry, and what's going on out there. Maybe some new vehicles that I'm eyeing or potentially looking to buy or sell. And if you guys got any questions, just hit me up. I'll reply to the comments. You guys take care. Be safe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.